Hello, everybody, and welcome, sports enthusiasts, to the 260, broadcasting live from the heart of Fort Wayne Sports Epic Center, the Spiece Fieldhouse. Join us on this exhilarating journey as we uncover the stories and perseverance, teamwork, and passion that have unfolded within these walls. Visit SpieceFieldhouse.com to learn more about this extraordinary facility and get ready for an immersive experience that captures the essence of Fort Wayne sports in our community. You, me, us, and them. We are the 260. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, 260 podcast. I'm joined with my friends here. Every Thursday, we're here live at the Spiece Fieldhouse. Make sure you follow us at the 260 on every single social media platform that's out there. Go ahead and search for it at THE26, the letter O, because there are no zeros in the 260. I'm Dennis Sonar Green, and joining with me today is Dave the Mayor Rickert. Also, we have Matt and Abby Brandenberger here to talk about pickleball. Brandenberger. I keep putting that extra letters in there. I apologize.
It's a long name.
I'm a professional. I should be able to do this. But thank you both very much for being on with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So you guys have a show about pickleball. So we decided to bring on the pickleball experts. I mean, that's it. You guys are the subject matter experts of pickleball.
I don't know about that, but
well, at least here in the area. Right. I mean,
sure.
who else can you name three people that also doing it, right? You can't.
I can't.
Exactly. You're the top.
Right.
The only person I knew about pickleball was Matt Carpenter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And miraculously, they were together at a tournament down in Columbus, Indiana, and here we are. We made a phone call. It was probably a half an hour phone call, and me and Joe's head were just blown away with all the info they give us.
This sport is growing.
Yeah.
It's growing.
and that's why we started our podcast. So like you were mentioning, we have our own podcast called One More Game, and we do that weekly. You can search for that anywhere you find your podcasts. And we love this. So it's fun to kind of be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Getting to be on getting to be interviewed. So
were you guys talking about pickleball before you started a podcast? Were you those people that would go to the courts and just talk everybody's ear off about the history?
And not just the courts.
No, we would go. So we would we have a lunch date. We would talk about pickleball the entire time.
Okay.
It's kind of embarrassing, really, but
drives our kids nuts.
Oh my goodness.
Are they players?
They like to dink around with us. They don't play competitively at all. But they range in ages from 14 down to 7. And a couple of them, our 8-year-old has a lot of potential. She's going to be an athlete.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get them into it kind of slowly, but they're not nearly as addicted as mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's great. Are there professional dinkers out there? I heard you use the word dink.
Yeah.
Are there professional dinkers out there? Like there's tournaments, prize money,
there's
all
a
of
big
that?
time.
Oh, yeah.
This is
So
we had that conversation the following week, I'm flipping around the TV and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
It's on TV.
Wow.
And they take it serious.
Yeah. I think that was the weekend that they debuted it on ESPN.
Yeah.
And that was big news.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And now they're going
really
to
exciting.
Amazon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just saw that yesterday.
Yes.
But Amazon's putting on a tournament?
No, they're taking they're going to be broadcasting all the pickleball pro tournaments.
Mhm.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
See, I'm a disc golf player, so we just got our surge a little bit ago.
Yeah.
And this, I just cannot go anywhere without people talking about pickleball.
Yeah.
It's
Very similar.
Is it that addictive? Is it because I haven't played?
Yeah.
Is it that addictive for it?
I would say emphatically yes. We're only 3 years in, but I think there's a lot of
3 years in, and you guys are like the top dogs
I mean,
in town.
Yeah, here in Fort Wayne. That's it. King and queen of pickleball here.
You're going to tick some people off if they're listening to this. So that was not out of my mouth, but
He has one of them on his back.
right. But yeah, we play a lot. We play at a high level. But yeah, in terms of disc golf, there has been a huge surge in it. Pickleball is, I don't know where they get these numbers from, but they do say it is the fastest growing sport in the United States. And I believe it. I mean, there's courts popping all up around town.
That's the thing. Here at Spiece, they got 8 courts. 6 courts ready to go.
Yeah.
That you can use anytime you need.
And they've got equipment here too.
Yeah, they got the nets.
Yep.
All you got to do is bring your own paddles.
Yeah, what is that all you need for most courts? You just bring your own paddles, or
Yeah.
is there enough places out there that they'll actually rent them to you?
Yeah, and I would say that's one of the most attractive things about the sport.
Mhm.
I was a golfer, played a lot of golf. Golf's expensive.
Yeah,
I
it
mean, you start like playing golf, you want to get a new set of clubs, you're spending at least $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
New drivers now are like 500 plus. So pickleball was attractive to me, having 5 kids, not having a ton of money, because it's essentially free. You're right. You get a paddle. Now paddles are going up. You know, a nice paddle's a couple $100.
And your paddle is getting more expensive every time you buy one.
And I like to try new things. So I say
It's a better paddle.
Yeah,
You look great.
yeah.
Makes it better, right?
Right.
Makes him the king.
But that's the whole racket. Is once some catches on,
Right.
there goes the price.
And then he's like,
Right.
"Oh, I need new shoes now.
yeah, exactly.
Mine are get a little worn out."
I will say that. Yeah.
how many pairs of shoes do you go through a year?
My
You're every 3 months.
a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
I figured out actually my buddy Matt Carpenter was the one that kind of turned me on to how you can work the system to take advantage of the 6-month warranty that shoe companies will give for their
Oh, there you
outsole
go.
warranty.
Smart
And so,
too. See?
yeah. So I mean, I would say on average, I would say 4 pairs of shoes in a
But
year.
wow.
is
I
fair.
would say he's also, if you would watch Matt play pickleball, he's everywhere, all over the court. So,
Okay.
right.
Right.
I mean, like, if he's not bleeding somewhere, he hasn't really played pickleball. So-
My knees are full of scabs.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
true.
Now,
So-
is it different like courts? Is it different to play on wood versus maybe the basketball, the outdoor side? Because I know at least you guys change the ball if you're playing
Yeah.
indoors versus outdoors.
Yeah.
Right.
And now does the turf change the ball or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. So at Spiece, and then there's, McMillan and Sport One, those are all that basketball court
Mhm.
type surface, which is fine. And you use the indoor ball there. But we would all prefer, I'd say, as you get more into pickleball, you get a little snobbier.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. The
And
clay court.
You want
and-
the tennis
okay.
surface and you want the outdoor or
Okay.
the outdoor ball.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have wondered, like in the comparisons to tennis, because we've never played on clay or like a grass surface. It is
Mhm.
just the hard.
Well, yeah, it's not going to bounce, I
surface.
doubt.
No.
But that is by far the preferred surface
is.
to play on.
In
So,
terms of anticipating the bounce, they don't slide like at basketball court. It's going to slide a little bit. That's just
Mhm.
not fun when the ball's sliding everywhere. So
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, so the other thing I'd like to ask is just a little bit of the terminology, because
Sure.
there's some fun jargon in
Yeah,
pickleball.
yeah.
First off, the name, obviously,
I know.
pickleball.
Right.
Like you're not playing with a pickle. You are playing with a ball. So where did the pickle come from? Is it from the kitchen? Are you taking the pickle from the kitchen and then it goes out?
Yeah,
Like I'm just
Yeah.
all over the place with
Yeah.
this.
So there's a whole bunch of different theories of where the name came from. The family that invented it was out in Washington. I don't know my history as well as I should, but Bainbridge, is that?
Bainbridge
Bainbridge.
Island, Washington.
There you go. You did the research. Good job. And he was like a state senator, and they were bored, a family, little vacation to
Yep.
their
You got it
town.
down so far.
Yeah. And so they had a badminton net. So the dimensions of a pickleball court are the same as badminton,
Okay.
but the net obviously is a lot lower. So the net is about the same size as a tennis net. It's just 2 inches lower. So
That's it.
yeah, 2 inches is all.
Wow.
So, so they were messing around. They tried to invent a new game on a rainy day, and I don't know what a pickle boat is, but some people say that the name came because they used parts from a pickle boat, and
Okay.
that's where the name came from.
some people say the dog,
Yeah, there
the
was.
dog pickle.
They did have a dog named Pickle or
Oh.
Pickles,
Well,
but they.
according to what we found,
Yeah, what'd you find?
that they were just, like you said, on a family vacation, trying to get everybody involved. They was using ping pong paddles,
Yeah.
badminton paddles, and then they started making up the whole rule system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a family.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can take a tour. You can go see the house.
Kind of like
Oh,
It was,
Mecca. No, yeah.
people go visit the house.
That's fantastic. Of all the
Have you
paddles,
been?
No, not yet.
Is that a big vacation for you guys?
Yeah, I don't
Saving
know.
up.
I
There
think
you
there's a
go.
few more places we'd rather go to play pickleball than rather just.
Yeah.
exactly. Of all the paddles, ping pong and pickle or otherwise, I
Yeah.
think the pickleball paddle is the one that would
Can you show
actually be the best paddle.
us, show us one?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because it's big.
It's yeah.
And so now, is it the same kind of concept with table tennis or ping pong, where you're still trying to maybe put a top spin or any of that?
What I've watched on
going across
some of these tournaments, there's a lot of, turning to the wrist to get the spin going.
Yeah.
And is that why you changed the ball versus indoor and outdoor?
Exactly. And indoor ball is a little softer and can manipulate well. So people who
And won't break anything.
Yeah. And you can manipulate it more almost to an unfair advantage. So if you're playing with a soft ball like that, you can spin the heck out of it.
Just a
and
ball.
Yeah.
You got a ball?
Do you have a ball back there? But in terms of the terminology though, like, you were asking about that, and I would say like the kitchen is one of the words that we talk about.
And that's like the no man's land, right?
Yes,
Nobody's supposed to be playing.
And separates it from tennis is that 7 feet between the net and where you have to stand, that you cannot volley. The correct term for it is like the non-volley zone. Is that area, the kitchen. And so you have to stay behind there. You have to let the ball bounce before you can step in there before. You just can't volley the ball out of the kitchen area. And then dinking, of course, is another term we talk about a lot. And that just means a soft shot that you're kind of hitting back and forth over the net.
That bounces.
And so
it's not a volley.
Right.
Okay.
It is it's at its core, it's more of a touch game, a softer game. Again, if you watch
I don't
the
think I'm gonna be hit with this
higher level, it stings.
Because that's kind of what badminton is.
I'm pushing pretty good on this.
Yeah.
I've had a black eye.
Yeah.
So you have 8-1.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And to back to that softer game, I mean, badminton is a softer game. Has anybody tried to spike a badminton bird? Come on, or
shuttlecock.
Yeah.
Right.
I used to do that in high school.
I mean,
I do love that.
Halfway through the arc, it just stops. And starts going. Does because of the whiffles in it? Does the pickleball do the same thing?
I mean, you can generate a lot of action on it. For sure.
It's a stinger if it hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get hit.
Yeah, if you get hit by it,
it's called a tattoo.
It's going to leave a mark.
And you show people your pickleball tattoo, and it's usually you can even see the holes sometimes.
Yeah, and in that way, it can be. Abby said she's taken one off her face as well. Eyewear is really highly suggested, and we've started. I kind of was like, I've got fast enough hands, I don't need to worry about it. But it's usually your partner who might
deflects off your partner's paddle into your eye.
And we had a friend recently who had to go to the eye surgeon.
Oh boy!
And he was lucky. And we hear horror stories online all the time about people losing a retina or getting a detached retina. So we've started to wear eye protection as well. And I would suggest anybody that plays, that's the smart thing to do for sure.
And on your
be cool.
Yeah, I look like a nerd, but I don't care. Rather have both my eyes.
Well, to take it from the unhealthy to the healthier side, on your podcast, One More Game, you guys are starting to interview people who have essentially their lives have changed because of pickleball. I mean, I'm sure you're the guy who's all over the court, but it doesn't seem like as high of an impact sport for some things. And even listening to some of your episodes, it's that quick do something and then you get a beat to rest and then do something and come back.
Yeah. I mean, so studies would show you that interval training is going to be the best way to get in shape.
Okay.
Whenever I've had an injury or, my friends have had injuries, I've recommended you don't go run 4 miles just today. You run a minute and walk a minute because that is actually better for your heart condition than steady state cardio. And so pickleball is a sprint and then a stay and then a sprint. So it is even, evidence-based, going to be better for your muscles and your heart to get in shape.
A cousin of mine, he just recently started, and he told me, he started on vacation down in Florida. And he said, he played tennis in high school, still loved tennis. He's 64. He goes, I can't play tennis no more.
Yeah.
Right.
He goes, this is really good.
Yeah. It gets people moving who may otherwise not get moving. And I ran and I got bored of running. I'd run for 30 years and I was like, this is so boring and lonely. And so now I can, I couldn't go run 6 miles today, but I'm still in decent shape because I play pickleball and I'm with my friends. In fact, we have a really good episode about the addictive qualities pickleball. It's called The Anatomy of an Addiction. And it goes through why pickleball is addictive. It goes through the reasons that dopamine and the serotonin really hit your brain and why it's so good for you.
That's really, really neat.
Yeah. And I would add to that it doesn't matter like your skill level. It really is a game that can be played by anybody at any skill level. So you can play at the high intensity, running all around the court like I do. But there's also, 80-year-old people that are there just kind of hitting the ball back and forth.
Yeah.
It's just a slower paced game. So
that's what we was originally talking about at Spiece.
Yeah.
Get the retirement community.
Yeah.
Come in here early morning.
Yep.
Just if you got to walk and hit, do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Any movement is good. Bodies in motion, stay in motion. Bodies at rest, stay at rest. And you can have some pretty significant sedentary injuries.
Absolutely.
And so just if you can lubricate your joints and get your muscles going, you're going to be healthier. You're going to have a better immune system. Your brain's going to work better.
Yeah.
Yep. Before I start playing pickleball, is there something that I should prepare my body for? Like if I have maybe a bad knee, should I look at maybe getting a knee brace, or maybe if I've got a bad elbow or something? Is there any way, if I've already got maybe some of these ailments, I'm trying to kind of use pickleball to get through or try to get more movement? Is there anything I should be checking out health wise before I start playing?
Yeah. I mean, I actually don't think so. So we actually have an injury prevention episode. If you would go look at that. I tend
one more game, by the way. One more game.
I tend to be on the side of movement. So if your elbow hurts, I think you should keep moving it. Now, if you go to pickleball and you're 2 weeks in and you're like, okay, now it's getting painful, then I do recommend going to a therapist, going to your doctor. Sometimes ibuprofen just works.
Fair enough.
But for the most part, I am an advocate of moving. Moving helps pain.
Yep.
So.
And Abby was in her former life a physical therapist assistant, so she kind of had.
So now that's the mice, what they call mice now, right? Movement, ice.
So it's different now.
Is it rice?
It's meat.
Meat.
Oh.
Thank you for saying that. It is not rice, rest, ice, compression, elevation. It is meat. Let's see if I can remember it. Movement, exercise, analgesics, and treatment.
Say that again.
What was the A?
Analgesics is ibuprofen. They had to make a word, so they came up with meat.
So they came up with
so
meat.
It's movement.
So when did this change?
So
last 2 years?
I mean, yeah, I'd say in the last few years. Yeah.
Yeah, because my son had a major injury in high school, and it was didn't it used to be rice, then they changed it to mice?
Right. That it was pressure. I can't remember what the P is. P, what would be the P? I don't remember.
Yeah. Movement, ice, compression. I forget the E.
Yeah. Elevation.
One more thing though, I would add to the whole, like if you're just starting out playing, we do a lot of clinics and we do a lot of instruction. And unfortunately, I've seen this happen more than once where somebody comes out who hasn't done much physical exercise in maybe even years. And they'll pull a calf muscle or they'll pop.
Yeah, we did see that. I did tear my ACL playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So to be fair, Abby would be a huge proponent of this, of taking the time to stretch out a little bit, to warm up, to take even just a quick lap around the court. Don't go out cold and just try to start playing.
Achilles tendon, is that a big one?
So I've seen in my past life, I played a ton of basketball and I did both ACLs and an Achilles.
Oh,
and so
man.
my fear is that I'll do my other Achilles at some point. And yeah, I mean, it could happen at any time because there's
Achilles was probably worse than your ACL, wasn't it?
I've said I would do my ACL 5 times over to one.
The recovery of an Achilles, though, to be fair, is very different than when you had it. It's
been 12 years since
right. When Matt had it was 8 weeks non-weight bearing. I think it's only a couple weeks non-weight bearing now, and you get immediately into a boot. So
I just remember I was playing in a pickup basketball game when we used to play out at Leo, and we just bring the ball up the court, and there was kids playing around. Our kids were playing around, and we just heard this bang.
Yeah, like a gunshot.
Yeah, and the guy went down, and we're both bringing the ball up the court, and it was like a gunshot, and we're looking around like these kids did something.
Yeah,
and then when we look down, he's down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. Yeah. But I would say, I know somebody who was walking up the stairs and his ruptured.
Okay.
So I will go on record as saying, you should stay active.
Yeah.
I can see your fear though, Matt.
Oh,
There's a risk.
it's real because
Yeah.
in pickleball, there's a ton of going up and then retreating. And that's like where I feel like
it's that explosive push off where your Achilles can pop.
So I would like to think I'm in a little better shape though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some weeks better than others.
Yeah.
Some months better than others.
But it's a risk you're willing to take because life is risky.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you just live your life.
Keep playing.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's true. Well, we're going to keep talking with Matt and Abby Brandenberger. Brandon. Oh my goodness. I just cannot get it today. Brandon. It's written in front of me right here. At least I can get the One More Game podcast correctly.
That's what's
important. You can find that just like our podcast on any of the fantastic places you get your podcast. You're already on the internet. Go ahead and check those two places out. Here at the 260, we are live, by the way, every Thursday night at 7 here at the fantabulous Spiece Fieldhouse, SpieceFitness.com. We like to thank them every week for inviting us over here to speak with them. We're going to take a quick break just to kind of put a pause in it. But when we come back, I want to talk about how you guys got started. What's the culture around it? How did you bring in your family into this? So until we come back, you, me, us, and them, we are the 260.